seen it yet, yeah. But just great director. But I remember when they were talking about Gotham City Sirens, and they were gonna do Harley Quinn, and I remember everyone being so excited. Oh yes, like a female teen movie, and I'm all for that aspect. But I remember hearing this obscure comic name, and just I was like, this movie will never get made. I promise you right now. And I said that ever since it got reported.
Well, Guardians, think about that with obscure stuff.
It's true, but now look at Gotham City Sirens. It's not even on DC's whatever kind of format they have for a release slate now. They're just doing Suicide Squad 2, which apparently is moving forward. I don't know, but then
I don't hate the DCEU movies. I just feel bad for them.
I don't, but I
feel bad
when I see how well put together Marvel is. And you see them come out and they make their big presentation, and it's a spectacle to see them announce movies. That's something that no other studio can do.
Disney rocks.
Yeah,
Marvel
for sure.
Studios. Yeah,
they have their own Comic-Con, for Christ's sake. And so when I hear DC just randomly, I remember seeing there was a Nightwing movie casting. I'm like, I can't get excited for this because I don't know if it will happen. I would get excited if they would just lay out their release dates, say we are sticking with Justice League, Aquaman, Wonder Woman 2, and we'll take it from there. Yeah. I don't need to hear all these reports of random movies that I don't even know. Exactly, because I've already lost a lot of... I'm not going to say I've given up on the DCU, but I've lost a lot of faith.
I will never give up on the DCU until it gets 0% in Rotten Tomatoes.
All right. That's fair. People like Mike, they want to see these good movies.
Wonder Woman was amazing.
Wonder Woman... All right, still yet to see it. I'm kind of embarrassed that I haven't seen it yet. But I know that was a great movie. I've seen a lot of good things from it. And that's another example of a movie where they just gave Patty Jenkins the reins and they just said,
she was confirmed for 2.
Exactly, and that's great. But just studio interference, if they would just lay out their plan, I would just prefer that so much more.
Yeah.
All right, that'll wrap up today's movie news. We're going to move on to our review of It.
Very excited.
We're going to start the review of It with just a general review and what we liked about the movie. We're going to talk about stuff that you already know as the viewer going into the movie.
No spoilers or spoilers?
We're going to start with a no spoilers section. So we'll talk about what you've already seen, in the trailer. We'll give it a general score, whether we would recommend you to go or not. You can already tell probably what we're going to say. Yeah. But we will get into spoilers later. I will just add a sound effect just so you know. But if you haven't seen this movie, this first bit is for you, so you know how good this horror movie is. Mike, do you want to start us off?
Yeah. The trailers, when I first heard about the movie, let's start with that. I was worried because remaking things is so just drilled into movies. Hollywood loves to remake stuff.
Agreed, yeah.
But it went through hell, development hell. Actors came in.
I remember Will Poulter, is that his name? The only thing I recognize him from is We're the Millers as the boy in the family. And I remember he was attached to play Pennywise, but yeah, I went through a lot of different stuff. So go on, yeah.
When the trailers came out, I saw it and I was stunned how good it was. I was really happy, but I was also kind of scared because I've seen good trailers before, like Suicide Squad.
Any Transformers trailer ever.
Yeah.
Great trailer.
And then just miserable movie.
Yeah.
But then I get in the theater, I saw it in IMAX, and I was just completely blown away. I personally was not too scared of it. I loved the creepiness of it. It was such a good mood of the movie. The filming was pretty great. Score was amazing, and just some of the greatest character acting I've seen in Bill Skarsgård's performance. Just some of the greatest
absolutely.
Character acting. I hope he gets another big role. He's definitely going to be a horror icon.
Yeah, I like that point. Just to get into my overall review of the movie, I really liked the contrast between scenes that felt very Goonies / more modern example, Stranger Things, and then getting into horror aspects, because this movie, struggle to call it a full-on horror movie.
I'd call it a psychological thriller, possibly.
That's fair, yeah. Because I've seen horror movies before where the entire time you're afraid of a jump scare of what's going to happen. This movie, there were scenes, obviously, Mike saw me in the theater. I was jumping out of my... Mike said he didn't find it very scary, more eerie, which is fair. But
that just makes... I've seen so many horror movies.
That's fair.
I'm just not affected.
As someone who gets very scared from horror movies, and if you're someone that likes to get scared, I don't understand that very much, but
I mean,
it's fun. I guess it's kind of fun. But if you're someone that likes to get scared, I personally would say this is the movie for you because I haven't been this scared in a long time. Maybe not scared like hiding like in my sweatshirt or something, but like the jump scares, some of the best that there have been because
they built up properly.
Exactly. You'll see jump scares where it's just like a noise and there's nothing behind it, but this one, like, you can sense it, but you don't know if it's actually going to happen, and then it happens. Exactly. But getting back to my point about the whole Stranger Things, Goonies vibe, the kids in this movie were so good.
They were phenomenal.
So good. Because it's tough to get good child actors in any capacity, and to see the professionalism, I'd say, of these kids, especially his name escapes me, who plays Georgie.
I have his name down. Let me find it.
Okay, sure.
The kid, Jackson Robert Scott.
Yeah, amazing. I'm not going to get into many spoilers with his character, but he just was phenomenal. For someone
that young,
exactly, because all the kids definitely in their like middle school years, but this kid is
he's like 7 or 6.
I
think this is his first big role too.
Yeah, I would say so. But for what he was in and what he was given, he did phenomenal. And then of course other actors in it. What was it? Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things. Hilarious.
Yeah, he stole every line he had. Stole the show.
You would think going into the movie that the fat kid was going to be the comic relief. I kind of did too, and I really enjoyed his character.
Yeah.
It wasn't like
I have some criticisms on that, but we'll get to it later.
Sure. But Finn Wolfhard, hilarious. Like a lot of times when I'm in movies, sometimes I find myself forcing to laugh because I kind of expect that I have to, but Finn Wolfhard, just genuine humor.
Because they acted like kids.
Exactly.
They acted like kids.
Exactly.
Because, the people who are directing movies now are influenced by the 80s, because that's the time period they grew up in.
Yeah.
So their scripts are going to be just there, because I've lived the 80s, so I can write an 80s script.
Exactly.
And I think it was a genius move to move the kid portion of it to the 80s.
Yeah.
Because it's so popular right now.
Yeah, and also because when they do make the second one, it'll be interesting to see it set in modern time rather than the 50s, 80s
It's going to be
aspect.
tough. I think it's going to be tough.
Yeah. So why don't we give it an overall score, and then we can get more into spoilers in a bit.
Out of what?
Let's go out of 10.
All right, I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. I'm going to go 8.5. Just because I thought it was one of the best horror movies I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I judge it on compared to other horror movies. But when I judge it as a movie on a whole...
I have
yeah, we can get into... Are your criticisms non-spoiler or are they spoiler?
Kind of spoiler, I guess.
All right, we'll just save them for the spoiler section. But my criticism, my main criticism, I'd say, this isn't really a spoiler, but I thought it could have ended multiple times. And it's one of those movies where it's like you're ready for the ending, and then you're like, oh, it's continuing, and then it's a long horror movie.
I've read the book. The book's like over 1,000 pages.
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
Phone book,
but books to movies, apples and oranges. Like you would think that they're easy adaptations because they're both telling stories, but it's not that simple.
It was a smart move to split it up into 2 movies. Have you seen the miniseries?
I have not seen that. I've seen parts of the miniseries. I haven't seen it as a
the
whole.
only good part's Tim Curry. The rest is a grogging 3-hour slow pace. Not like it's just this movie definitely picks up the pace
for sure. So like I said, just towards the end, there were moments where I was like, all right, we can kind of wrap it up, and it sounds like that's bad because you never want a movie to end, but I only wanted it to end because I was at my peak with it, and I really didn't want it to be notched down a few pegs. Unfortunately, the longer dragged out ending, I wouldn't call it dragged out necessarily, just there were individual moments where I'm like, all right, here come the credits, not anticipating them, but just all right, it's probably gonna end here, and then it didn't, and then that repeated a few times for me, so that's why that's my main criticism with it. But overall, very good movie, and I would definitely recommend you see it in theaters. All right, we will move into spoilers. All right, so that sound effect means we are getting into spoilers, and there are some scenes in this movie that really got me.
Definitely.
So I want to start off with the projector scene.
Yeah.
Because
that's a good place to start. Yeah. Okay.
Mike had already seen this movie. When me, Mike, and 2 of our other friends went to see it, what did you say? You whispered to Jake?
I said Liam's gonna flip out.
Yeah, and I didn't hear it. Obviously, Jake told me after the movie, but I was just watching because the projector keeps flipping and flipping and flipping, and you saw it in the trailer, and you see like his face come from the hair, and I thought that's all that was there. And then of course he comes out of the projector, but he's like double the speed, double the size.
He's crawling around.
And I jumped out of my seat. I kid you not. I there's a difference between being startled and jumping back versus jumping out of my seat. I jumped out of my seat. But I'm not someone who like gets scared and then continues like to be afraid. Like I get the jump scare and I'm like, oh man, that was scary. I'm gonna continue watching the movie now. That was probably the scariest. Or the jump scare again when her name escapes me. The main girl in the movie, Beverly,
played by Sophia Lillis.
Yeah, when she kills her father.
Oh yeah. Well, it's up, I think it's up in the air.
Okay, true.
It could be up in the air.
But when she smashes the sink over her father's head, and very like empowering moment, and then she turns around and Pennywise is just there. That
in her house, but I don't know.
That scared the shit out of me. Like that really got me.
And even that was used in a trailer and it was still effective.
Yeah,
which I like.
Yeah, I there were like about I'd say 2 or 3 trailers for this movie, so some of the scenes I kind of forgot about. But overall, those were 2 of scenes that really got me kind of like to jump out of my seat.
Yeah. Can I talk about my one criticism?
For sure, yeah.
So, knowing the source material, the character of Mike Hanlon, played by Chosen Jacobs, Mike is actually the historian of the group.
He's the one on the farm, right?
Yeah, he's the one on the farm. In the book, in the miniseries, he's the historian of the group, which I think it works really good because that's just like his character.
Right.
And Ben is more of a like an architect guy.
Yeah.
They drop that and take Mike's pretty much one thing and give it to Ben's character, played by the actor Jeremy Ray Taylor.
Right.
And I think it completely destroys Mike's character. He was one note. Not to say that the actor wasn't good.
No,
I think
that's in terms of the kids, he's very forgettable because he's not like even in the group.
It's so unfair.
It's kind of a coincidence that he meets up with the Losers Club. You know,
and which that happens. That scene happens in both the book and the miniseries. Which I mean, we keep things separate, sure, but I just taking that away from him and just like making him the guy with the gun. I think it kind of destroys his character because I don't want to spoil it for Liam, so I won't say it. But like later on, like he's integral to be the historian, and I'm wondering what they're gonna do with that.
That's true
with those characters, but like Chosen Jacobs did a great job with what he had.
Yeah,
I think it was some lazy writing. Same thing with Wyatt Olaf's character Stan.
Yeah,
Stan was a little like he was kind of like a secondary character, and I know in development they wanted to cut some characters actually, like rename some characters, and I'm happy they didn't because the Losers Club is these 7 kids. But he was okay. Like I'd say he had some like when he was putting his bike up, like he was the only kid to put his bike up. He was super neat and stuff.
Right.
But like his bat mitzvah thing, like they could have went on to that a little bit. I guess like I see why they wouldn't because that's too much plot. But like it would have been more interesting to see him like do some more stuff, both Mike and Stan. But the rest of the characters, you want to talk about that? Yeah.
I wanted to give a big shout out to Jaden Lieberher, I believe.
Yes.
He plays Bill, the main character,
Bill
guy in
Denbrough.
the Losers Club. I thought he was phenomenal when he first came on screen, and he had the stutter. Obviously, at first, when I first heard it, I thought this is a child actor being told to stutter, and he's going to stutter as being told to. But as the movie went on, it became more genuine and part of his character, and
it's important to his
I was so angry because when he's giving the speech about going into the house. And I'm in this movie and thinking with like my film mind, I think about him giving the speech and he's not stuttering once. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait to talk about this on the podcast. Like a little thing I picked up. And of course, Finn Wolfhard has to say he didn't stutter once and kind of be like, oh, obviously.
It's for the people who won't get it.
That's fair.
It's for like for like a dumb audience. Like that sounds mean.
Yeah, no, it's fair. But he was so good in this movie, and I really hope he gets
his. Yeah, go on.
Okay, but like I really hope he gets a lot of work in other movies, just because he was one of those characters where some of the kids they were just there and I didn't really care much for them, but I was like rooting for him throughout. Yeah.
It's such a sad story for him. Like his motivation is really good. I love what they did with Georgie instead of and this isn't a spoiler, in the miniseries, Georgie is found. He's right there and Bill knows he's dead. But making Georgie missing adds so much to Bill's character. Yeah. Because that's his quest now. Yeah. His quest is to find him. Instead of avenge his brother, it's to find him.
In the very beginning when he, like, people don't think about it very much, but like he builds that whole thing with the pipes.